Here I'm going to describe my latest update of how I go about wrapping my penis in a gauze, in a situation similar to a gauze dressing, soaked in silver hydroperoxide with MSM to keep my penis, or the head of my penis, moist at all times with the silver hydroperoxide solution with the added MSM. And this is to be done all day long, all night long, outside of the session in the bath. So the bath gives this kind of chemical support to the whole body, the main active ingredient being the water itself, for the purposes of supporting regeneration. Of course, the sulfur of the MSM helps, and the oxygenated hydroperoxide helps, but the silver, of course, is the main active ingredient. Ionic silver, not colloidal silver. Now for the penis, it's a very interesting situation because what we have basically is a wet sponge. That's what the penis is, especially when erect. And if you know anything about sponges, they are compressible. But with a condom to hold the gauze in place, it does not work. Over time, you'll get an erection in the middle of the night, and so if this is my penis, and the condom only goes halfway covering it, then this section in here is going to be compressed by comparison to the base of the penis, which is not going to be compressed when the whole penis is erect. So when my penis is limp, it looks normal, but when it becomes erect, I'm beginning to notice that this end half or end portion of the penis is narrower, more narrow than the base, which is wider circumference. And that tells me that the end of the penis has become deformed. So I had to figure out an alternative to holding the gauze dressing in place such that it would not compress the penis at all, not offer any compression whatsoever when it becomes erect. There was another factor of compression, and that was how I wrapped the penis. I basically wrapped it like a hot dog, in which I had a rectangular piece of cloth, and I'd roll it this way, around the circumference, with a little bit left over at the tip that would then be pinched. That created a tight binding, which also compressed the penis, which was also wrong. So I came up with a circular design, as you've noted in a prior video, except that width was 9 centimeters. This is 5 inches, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about 12.5 centimeters in diameter. And that seems to be about right, 5 inches. So that is soaked in a medium-sized plate because the diameter here is 5 inches, and so it's perfect. It fits right in there, and then I can get it wet and pour just a little bit of silver hydroperoxide with MSM in the center, let it soak up, and then draw it off to one side to wrap the penis using this guy's... You notice this guy, he's the mascot of my Vinyasa channel. Anyway, using his... I center it, and I fold the bottom part up, and I drag the two sides up, and I hold it in place. To cover with the sandwich baggie. This is fold and lock sandwich baggies. It's not Ziploc. And, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm so excited. Here, let's do everything in stepwise progression. The first things first is we got to cut out a section of this sandwich baggie. Here's the flap at the top, here's the opening, here's the flap, here's the portion underneath, that you flap this in and you do this over. We're not going to need all this. All we're going to need is one corner and an arc out of that. I'm going to cut out of it. And so I made an arc, and this is 12 centimeters on each edge. This is a 90-degree arc of a circle, and here's one quadrant of a circle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down over the sandwich baggie so that the two edges are flush. So that the two edges of the sandwich baggie is flush. Running out of my light. Okay, here we go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut outside the edge of the paper, because if I cut close to the paper it's going to create a jagged edge, because of the flexibility of the saran wrap is not going to want to stay put like a piece of stiff paper will do. So I'm going to cut away from the edge at least half a centimeter, between a half and 1 whole centimeter, which will make this 12.5 to 13 centimeters from the apex of what I'm creating, a cone-shaped piece of plastic, out to the edge. 12.5 to 13 centimeters from the center of the apex of the cone down the slope to the base. So I take a nice sharp set of scissors and I position this as best I can, as accurately as I can, and start cutting if I just had more room. Too many things on my work table here. Oh dear. The lighting is moving. The available light is moving as the sun goes down. Okay, let's see if we can do this before the sun goes down. So I start cutting. Wait, I have to get under the plastic first. I have to stay on top. It's breezy around here. Okay, here we go. Alright. Now what's left over remaining is a little bit of a flap that comes out, so we have to cut off the flap. Alright, there we go. Okay, so now we've cut our arc. And it's basically a cone. So I can take my my guy here, and you can see that it'll go right over his paw. It's basically a cone. So I take my wet, imagine this is wet, and draw it off. Okay, we're looking at it from our point of view as if we're above. So I fold it down, draw up the sides, draw it up the right side, put the cone over it, do the same thing, draw it up, make sure I got it nicely tucked, and then slip Picante. This is a Picante underwear. It's from Asia. They don't make these types of underwear in the States. They only make it in Asia, and it basically has a cupped end. Here's for the penis, for the shaft, and then they have a cupped area for the balls. Balls are a little tight for an American penis, whatever. So we got him wrapped up, and now we slip and we might have to do a little wiggling of the penis to get it to move downwards because it might be a tight fit. And this is after, putting this on of course is after I've already slipped it on over the right and left foot. Let's make believe this is his left foot here, because this is basically a jock strap version. So there you have it. You have everything held in place, and the only time I take this off is to change the dressing to pee, bathe, or sex. So I reuse the plastic several times before I replace it with a fresh new one. But this one, each time I take it off, I rinse it off under the faucet, hang it out to dry, and then replace it with a new one that I've soaked in a dish. And of course I'm using silver hydroperoxide with MSM, and that's a featured channel to the right of my channel here on foreskin regeneration. And that featured channel goes into more of the details about how I make silver hydroperoxide with MSM, all the various steps and the different problems and whatnot that go with that. So thank you for watching, and that's the end of this update. Hope you enjoyed watching it as much as my little friend did. Bye bye.